Today, we're going to break down a conflict that went from 0 to 100 at, well, lightning speed. We're going to walk through the absolutely critical first 48 hours of a war involving the US, Israel, and Iran. We'll be using direct reporting as our guide here. All right, let's just dive right in. It's a question we all hope stays theoretical, right? But what this scenario shows us is that it happens incredibly fast. It's a mix of surgical, high-tech strikes, an immediate and furious response, and global shockwaves that ripple out instantly. And we're not talking about weeks or months of things slowly building up. Nope. We're looking at a 2-day window where the world went from tense to full-blown war. Every single hour, every minute was critical. So it all kicked off with this, a huge military operation with a name that says it all, Epic Fury. And the goal? It was incredibly direct, a decapitation strike. The idea was to, well, cut the head off the snake, to take out Iran's top leadership in one single coordinated blow. Okay, what's really wild here is just the speed of it all. I mean, look at these timestamps. It starts in the middle of the night. Within just a few hours, we get official confirmation. And then, get this, only about 7 hours after the first bombs hit, Iran is already firing back. This wasn't a slow burn at all. It was an absolute explosion. And this is the moment, the one that changed everything. This wasn't just hitting some military base. Verified international reporting confirmed it. The supreme leader himself was dead. An act like that basically guarantees the response is going to be off the charts. And just to be clear, this wasn't some lucky shot. This was a systematic takedown. The strikes were designed to eliminate not just the top guy, but a whole layer of the senior command structure. Imagine that. A massive power vacuum opens up right in the middle of a war. So, with its leadership in total chaos, what does Iran do? They don't hesitate. Not for a second. The retaliation was immediate, it was furious, and it was aimed at targets all across the Middle East. This list really shows you the sheer scale of their counterpunch. They didn't just hit back at military targets. No, they hit Israeli cities, even a synagogue. And just look at the list of U.S. bases that were targeted. Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. The message was crystal clear. Every single American soldier in the region is now a target. And with those attacks came the first American casualties. The number itself is just stark. 3. 3 service members killed, others wounded. For the United States, the stakes just got incredibly high. At the exact same time, the cost for civilians inside Iran was also devastating. Early reports suggest around 200 civilians were killed in those first U.S.-Israeli strikes. Seeing these two numbers back to back, it really paints a grim picture of the immediate human toll on every side. With the whole region seemingly on fire, the rest of the world had no choice but to react, and react fast. The conflict immediately split the international community, forcing countries to either pick a side or, desperately try to put out the fire. This chart is a fantastic snapshot of the new diplomatic battlefield. You've got the US and Israel saying their actions were totally necessary. Iran frames it as a holy war. Russia immediately calls it aggression. Meanwhile, Europe and the UN are just pleading for everyone to calm down. And maybe most telling, Iran's neighbors in the Gulf basically sided against them by turning on their missile defenses. The battle lines were drawn in less than 48 hours. So beyond the battlefield and the frantic diplomacy, the impact hit pretty much everyone right in the wallet. Almost instantly, the fighting sent these immediate and severe shockwaves all through the global economy. And all that economic chaos, it really boils down to this one single geographic choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. A massive chunk of the world's oil has to travel through this tiny little waterway. Its security is, and I'm not exaggerating, vital to the entire world economy. And just look at the impact. It's night and day. Before the conflict, it's business as usual, ships flowing freely. After, traffic just grinds to a halt. Iran starts making threats, and all of a sudden shipping companies and their insurers say, no way, the risk is too high. And that's how a regional war instantly messes with global supply chains and the price you pay for gas. Okay, so that brings us to the biggest question of all. Where does this go from here? Based on everything that happened in those first 2 days, analysts are pointing to about 5 different ways this could play out in the very near future. What this really shows is just how many ways this thing could get even bigger and fast. You could see more strikes from the US and Israel. Iran could hit back even harder, maybe by activating its allies, groups in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, or Yemen. Then there's the shipping crisis getting worse, and at the same time, this desperate diplomatic scramble. And on top of all that,
you have the wild cards. What will giants like China or India do? Any one of these paths could completely change the course of this war.
Which really leaves us with this final, urgent question. The first 48 hours showed us exactly how fast the dominoes can fall. Now, with military, political, and economic pressures all at a boiling point, the entire world is holding its breath to see if diplomacy can somehow pull everyone back from the edge, or if this is just the very beginning of a much, much bigger war.